Today on DNVR Buffs Live, Travis Hunter is a Jaguar, and I don't think I've ever been more confident in that organization. We'll talk more about that. And also, about last night, what the hell is going on with Shedeur Sanders? We get into that at length. Let's do it right now. Let's go!
Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It is DNVR Buffs Live. Oh boy. It's going to get spicy today.
Spicy.
Did it get spicy last night?
It was stunned silence last night.
It was pretty spicy last night. My boy Jake was going through it a little bit. It wasn't his fault though.
We have ops in the building.
You're just learning this?
No, I've known this, but they decided to make their presence known on the show last night, which was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
My boy was on one.
questionable behavior.
It's going to get spicy. But today we start with the celebration of one of the best moves in the franchise history of the Jacksonville Jaguars, trading up to go get Travis Hunter, a game-changing player, a franchise-changing player.
Yeah. I mean, they are they have a plan
Sure do.
in Jacksonville, and I hadn't put this together, but like, you hire Liam Cohen and James Gladstone in an attempt to push boundaries, in an attempt to say, like, we're going to do things a little different. We're going to do things the new age way. We're going to take a cutting edge approach to the way that we're going to run our football team. That's why we're going to bring in really young, fresh minds with fresh ideas. And then James Gladstone goes on the podium today and like ties the circle together in my head. And he says, amongst many other things, this was my favorite part: Travis Hunter is a reminder that the boundaries of the game of football were built to be challenged. The decision to draft him was actually a statement for how we plan to move and who we are.
Fire me up.
What a bar. Unbelievable. And just to expand on that, like, it's exactly what I didn't make the connection of like, oh, they're planning to push the boundaries in other ways. Mm-hmm. So why not push the boundaries when it comes to Travis Hunter? And boy, does that give me a lot of confidence that they're going to figure out how to use Travis Hunter the right way.
They get it, bro. They just get it. I mean, I think that was our biggest concern with Travis Hunter. We know what he is. We saw what he was.
Yeah.
Coach Prime allowed him to be who he was, truly, down to the core. And the biggest concern was, will an NFL team do the same? And Travis found the perfect match. He's going to be able to flourish just how he wants. He's going to play both sides. I mean, there's going to be stories told about this day last night and what that meant to the franchise, because this guy, he's going to attract other players. He's going to bring a whole other set of fans. He's going to sell jerseys. He's going to
sell tickets, something that they've historically had a big problem with.
He's going to make life easier on the head coach, on the GM, on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this is just an absolute home run.
100%. I love this fit back in November, when I wrote about it. And that was before, James Gladstone was the new GM. And that was before Liam Cohen became the head coach. And now with those two guys kind of leading this new era of Jacksonville Jaguars football, I truly believe this is the very best situation that Travis Hunter could have gone to, because the worst thing that could have happened to him in terms of a team drafting him was them trying to put him in a box. This is historically how we do things. This is historically how the NFL does things. we're going to play you on one side of the ball, or we're going to really limit how, you play, two ways. But clearly this brass, obviously led by Gladstone and, the head coach, Liam Cohen, they don't care about any of that old stuff. Like, they are into the new age of where the NFL is headed. And Travis is just a perfect player to kind of help you kind of go into a new era of your franchise and potentially how the game is going to be played at the NFL level, right? We're going to see, I believe, more Travis Hunters come in the draft and like be draft eligible. It's like we're actually drafting him to be both ways. It might not be next year. It might not even be 5 years from now. But I believe that's going to become a norm. And we're going to be able to point at Travis Hunter as the first person to really do that. And the Jacksonville Jaguars is the first team to allow somebody to do that. And just kind of tying a bow maybe on this part of it, a quote from Liam Cohen today. This is just one small excerpt of it. He said, in terms of Travis's usage, he said, we want it to look like what it looked like at Colorado. They're going to use him exactly the Deion Sanders blueprint of how he used him at Colorado, how he used him at Jackson State. And that is the best case scenario for where Travis could have gone. And that should be music to everybody's ears.
For sure. I mean, I guess let's talk about it from a football aspect. Trevor Lawrence, you said it last night, Scotty. This is a resounding endorsement from this organization on Trevor Lawrence. He missed quite a few games. I think it was like the last 7 or 8 games last year with a shoulder injury. He had shoulder surgery in mid-December in the middle of the season. But he was, the golden boy 4 years ago. Many people saw him as like the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
He's fallen on hard times. They get him Brian Thomas last year. He has a phenomenal rookie season.
Quiet, but phenomenal.
And then Travis slides right in. They signed De'Ami Brown, who I think is a good player.
I forgot they got De'Ami.
They got Gabe Davis, who I thought was a solid player at stretching the field at times too. Defensively, you draft Tyson Campbell in the
he's nice,
second round 3 years ago. That's
safety, right?
Yes, or they got him at cornerback,
okay.
but a Georgia cornerback.
For sure.
And now you got Travis Hunter on the other side. They're going to be locked down, and they have one of the best wide receiver combos in the league now.
So is Tyson Campbell their wide receiver 1 or cornerback 1?
Yes.
Okay. So they did have somewhat of a need there.
Jerrion Jones plays opposite of him. He was a 3rd-round pick last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Young at the position.
That was kind of the situation that I was looking for Travis to go into. A place that has a semi-need on one side of the ball and doesn't really have it on the other. And I don't think they have the need at wide receiver, even though I think that's where Travis is going to flourish the most in the NFL, because you just got to get the ball in his hands. But they can be smart about the way that they use him and be selective about the decisions that they make in using him. I think if he had gone to a team that had a massive hole at CB1 and wide receiver 1, it wouldn't have been as luxurious.
Yeah.
But I had a thought last night, and I don't know if anyone's made this comp yet. The cross-sport comparison that Travis draws the most is Shohei Ohtani. Mm-hmm. And while I see that, I have a different cross-sport comparison for Travis for different reasons. I think it's Steph Curry. And the reason why I think it's Steph Curry is because Steph Curry, of anyone that I've watched in my lifetime, changed the way that kids thought about the game.
Right.
I swear before Steph Curry, I never saw high school kids pulling up from 2 steps inside of half court. Now you turn on a high school game, an AAU game, like it or not, by the way, you're going to see kids chucking that thing all over the yard. And it's because Steph Curry pushed the boundary, literally. Yeah. Just kept stepping further and further and further back. And people are like, oh, you can actually get more open back here. And if you're a sharpshooter, you can do it. I think Travis Hunter is going to have a very similar impact on young players who are going to come into high school, all the way down to youth football, say, I want to play cornerback and wide receiver. I want to play, safety and running back. I want to be a two-way player. And it hasn't been rare in high school, but then I think it's going to translate into college and into the pros, where a lot more players are going to be wanting to do that, and a few are actually going to be able to pull it off.
For sure. He's just going to make it acceptable. That's probably not the best word, but it's I feel like with Curry, right? Your Curry example, where it's early on where people see him pulling up from deep, they're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
But after he makes 100 of those, there's like, he can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's I think going to become a thing for two-way players, where it's like it's kind of taboo at this point, where it's like you're not really getting the best out of yourself if you're really going two ways. But 5-10 years from now, when Travis is 5-10 years into his NFL career, doing it on both sides of the ball, it's just going to become more of an acceptable idea. But back to kind of just the football side of things, Liam Cohen is just. I just love him as a creative play caller. Like what he did in Tampa is, I think, really underrated. And obviously he got a head coaching job out of it, going from OC to, the head coach there in Jacksonville. But Baker's career was kind of hanging in the balance as a starting quarterback in the NFL when he arrived in Tampa. And obviously now he's looked at as, a top, we'll say half of the league for sure. And some people probably say he's higher than that. And, Liam Cohen has a lot to do with that. He deserves a lot of credit for that. And that two receiver, kind of dynamic that they had in Tampa with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin is going to play right into Jacksonville and Liam Cohen's hand here with obviously Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, the dynamic between those two guys is a little bit different, but the talent is undeniable. And I feel like Liam Cohen is just one of the best guys, play callers in the NFL. And I think getting the best out of that receiver group and tying in the run game to the pass game, because they're going to have a really good run game as well. Yeah. Assuming up front they can get things taken care of, because Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby are a lethal, 1-2 punch, assuming they're both healthy and at 100%. So this offense has the potential to be one of the most explosive in the NFL this year, and Travis Hunter could be the face of that.
Absolutely.
I texted Jake and Jack about this, but I realized this morning, remembered that Trevor Lawrence is on my fantasy team, and that got me very happy.
I was like, you don't need a QB no more.
Well, it's a 2 QB league.
Okay.
So I do still need a QB, but I think I might be able to get Shedeur. Talk about that in a second. Yeah, I'm just so excited for Travis. I mean, really couldn't have gone better for him.
Again, such a winnable division too. He's going to be cooking the Colts secondary. He's going to be cooking, you feel me, Tennessee secondary. Cam Ward and Travis twice a year, too. That'll be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun, man. It was just great to see Travis soak it up, too, last night. And did you see the clip from Bucky? From
Which one?
Travis's freshman year, when I can't remember who they played or what
was going on. When they were at
They're walking into the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium at the time, and it just... I mean, some of these things, man, it's just full circle, And this felt like one of them. He gets to go back home. He gets to do what he wants to do, play both ways. It's just a super exciting time. I cannot wait to watch this guy do what he did the last 2 years at Colorado in the NFL, because I fully believe he can do that. And kind of with the Steph Curry comp, I think he's going to flip the game on its head, kind of, man. He's going to make people question what's possible about the game of football, about what's possible when it comes to Travis Hunter.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
No doubt, bro.
Absolutely.
Let's take our first break. Wayne says it was Bethune-Cookman. Thank you, Wayne. Shout out to the homies over at Coors Light.
Coors Light Friday.
Come hang out at the DNVR bar. Did the Avs play tonight again? No? Well, come watch the draft with us tonight at the DNVR bar. Hang out with us. We'll be crushing some Coors Lights, and you can do the same. The draft is long. You got to be prepared with Coors Light if you're going to make it through the 3-4 hours of a draft broadcast.
Absolutely.
You just need it. So hit up our friends over at Coors Light. You can get it delivered or get it pretty much anywhere that sells beer, or you can get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart. Visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Also, speaking of golden, how about some golden brown chicken fingers from our friends over at Raising Cane's?
Fire.
They got flavor fast, from their hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers to crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and secret cane sauce that's made in restaurant every single day. Are you hungry yet?
Yes.
I am.
Very much so.
Dive into Flavor Flav's faves. Wow. What are you waiting for? It's Cane o'clock. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. I just love Raising Cane's.
Yeah, me too.
So fire.
I might make a stop there before the...
I might too.
I'm sure you will, bro.
I might. I'm thinking about it, dude. I'm thinking about it. Predict Travis's stat line for when he comes back to Denver to play the Broncos this year.
Oh, please don't do this to me, bro.
Not doing that.
He will score at least a touchdown. He will score at least a touchdown.
That boy gonna go like 6 for 112 and a touchdown. He probably gonna get one off of Bo Nix too.
Stop, bro. What are you doing?
We'll see.
All right.
Man.
Let's get into it. I think the NFL draft is one of my favorite things on the football calendar. I can't help but look at it differently after what we just saw happen last night. The NFL picked sending a message over winning. The reports were true that we saw from Tom Pelissero, all these people about the concerns when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. And the crazy thing is none of them have to do with playing football.
Yeah.
It's all about off-field concerns when he did nothing on the field. And frankly, it's more of a targeted attack on his dad, Coach Prime. That's what it feels like to me.
Expand on that.
That's where I was going to go, but go ahead. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, Coach Prime, I'm going to kind of steal LaShawn McCoy's take from earlier today. Coach Prime's a winner. He wins everywhere he goes. He did it his way in the NFL.
Yeah.
And as we know, the NFL is a lot of old white dudes. And they did not like how Deion Sanders acted at times, the cockiness, the brashness, just being who he was, the best cornerback in the world. And so now that they see his sons coming into the NFL, they pick them apart and they're trying to get back at Coach Prime for how he, approached his NFL career over the last few years by taking down Shedeur Sanders, attacking his character. This was straight character assassination. What happened over the last week, I mean, I've seen guys get picked apart in the NFL draft for years and years. What happened over the last week was egregious. It was gross. It had nothing to do with football, and it makes me look different at this entire process because this was not about football last night.
No, it wasn't. It was a lot about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and his son because, to kind of piggybacking off your point, Jake, like the NFL could never, ever humble Deion Sanders. And I bet they wanted to at times because he was always who he is. He was one of the best players to ever play in the league. And he did it his way, talking his mess, with the chains on, with the bling on, back before it was cool. And now everybody does it, including Shedeur. I watched the draft last night, and everybody had their ice on. It wasn't just Shedeur with his big old chain on. Everybody had their ice on, flexing and whatnot. So that can't really be.
Who else has went viral?
Exactly, bro. And bro wasn't even at the draft, but yeah, it went viral. But this is, I agree with you, Jake. Like I said, I think this is old white folks hating on Coach Prime and trying to get to him because they never could. So we gonna try to humble your sons, both of them. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we're talking about Shedeur here specifically, but I think a lot of people in those circles, because these are owners that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They're like, we could never humble Coach Prime. They're like, damn, you was a Pro Football Hall of Famer. You did it your way.
And now he's coaching.
And now you coaching.
And his son's coming up in the draft.
We can't let
and
you.
He's a top quarterback.
We can't let you also have a top 5 quarterback son. At least if we have anything to say about it as NFL owners, as the old boys group. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Because again, if you're looking at film in football, I'm not seeing many football critiques. That whole Tom Pelissero reporting, that really didn't have a lot to do with what they see on the field from him. Yes, he needs to improve in terms of taking sacks, but taking care of the football is what he does. Accuracy is what he is about. I'm not seeing too much noise about Jalen Milroe's inaccuracy or Jackson Dart's inability to play good football against actual good football teams in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? And again, it would be one thing if the Giants, liked Jackson Dart. You know what I'm saying? Even more so than Shedeur, which I think is an asinine thing to say or to do or to think. But to trade up, to give up assets while Shedeur Sanders is still on the board and go get a Jackson Dart.
He's probably going to be third on your depth chart going into the season. What are we doing?
And then to announce right after that Russell Wilson is your starting quarterback. You weren't trying to win. Or you weren't trying to win more than you were willing to, maybe take a short-term public kind of beating potentially for taking Shedeur Sanders. When the long-term effect, you're going to look really smart. And whoever takes Shedeur Sanders is eventually going to look really smart. But there's a lot of dumb-looking folks yesterday.
Yeah, I have a slightly different take on this. And not that I disagree with either of your guys' points, which I think were well made. I think this, for me, is twofold. One, congratulations. Your character assassination on a kid worked. And this is not just over the last week.
No.
This is from the second that really I became familiar with Shedeur coming to Colorado. he has been torn down at every turn. Any chance that people get on social media to tear him down, they've taken it. And it has truly skewed the public perception to be against Shedeur Sanders. And I don't think that's ever been more evident than everyone trying to dance on his grave, for lack of a better term, even though it's no grave, last night. And I really do think that mattered. Like, it got in the heads of owners and GMs and coaches who saw all of this stuff going viral week in, week out, all the way up till last night. I mean, damn near every week leading up to last night, there was something different that was coming out against him. But I just mentioned owners and GMs, and I actually talked to someone last night who told me owners were the highest on Shedeur, GMs were in the middle, and coaches were on the lowest. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true, but that was what one source told me. And I started to think about that. And so this is my other theory. I think that coaches were afraid of what it would mean for their job security,
for sure,
if they were to take Shedeur Sanders. And I think that's also twofold, because as much as Coach Prime signing a 5-year extension maybe quells a little bit of that concern, there's still going to be that hanging over. And we've talked about it on this show over and over again. The fan base is going to be thinking it, at the very least. You go out there and you're the Giants and you have Shedeur Sanders at quarterback and you start slow, the fans are going to start thinking, okay, who's next when we fire Brian Daboll? Why not Coach Prime?
Yep.
And that's going to start building steam. The other thing is just Coach Prime's influence and the circles that he runs in. I think that coaches might have feared that he would use his influence against them. And I really don't think Coach Prime is going to be that up in their business. Mm-hmm. But I think that there is a perception that he would be.
I think you're right.
And so I think that there was a lot of pushback from head coaches who didn't like the idea of such an influential family coming in and having influence in their organization.
I had that written here on my notes as well. Yep. Coach Prime becoming head coach, teams being nervous about that, and specifically the head coach of the team, right? Because that just, I don't want to say makes a lot of sense, but I can just see that being a plausible reason for the potential fall. Because just take Brian Daboll, for example. You could easily cap to your owner and be like, I don't know about Shedeur. I don't know if he has the talent. Sure. But whole time in your mind, you're thinking, we can't have this guy be our quarterback because if it doesn't go well, I'm going to be out of here and Coach Prime going to be in here taking my job. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that could potentially happen. Again, from a coach's perspective, you know what I'm saying? You could disguise, your nervousness about your job security if you draft Shedeur Sanders. You disguise that with like, I don't know if he can play. I don't know if he's a first-round talent. When that's cap. We know that's not true. You know what I'm saying? So that is, I think you're right. I think that definitely has some to do with it, but this is I think there's a lot of reasons for the fall, and I think that's certainly one of them.
There are, but let's talk about the football reasons, because we bring up the reasons all three of us just mentioned, and a lot of people go, yeah, well, he was just never that talented anyway. He just wasn't the best quarterback in this class. He was always the 4th, 5th, whatever, best quarterback. My guy, I have seen Anthony Richardson drafted 4th overall. I saw Will Levis drafted 33rd overall 2 years ago. Kenny Pickett went 20th overall 3 years ago. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, 2nd and 3rd overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. I've seen Baker Mayfield go 1st overall. He literally ran from the cops. What has Shedeur done? He's gone on the field, produced, won awards, been a good teammate, been a good leader, brought a program back from the literal dead, and people are saying he's not the best or among the best quarterbacks in this class. That's just a flat-out lie. You do not know ball, brother.
Yep.
Chief.
Cook. 100% Cook. And real quick, scroll up in the comments. There's a comment here. Little more. There you go, from Freddie. That doesn't make sense. The Manning family was in New York, RK.
Come on, bro.
Now, come on. I know we're not going to compare those right now.
Be for real.
And I know we're not missing the difference there.
And again, this is how you mentioned like people kind of taking victory laps, for Shedeur following. I saw a tweet this morning that has almost 3,000 likes now from a user who has over 23,000 followers. This user tweeted last night, Shedeur Sanders not being drafted in the first round was a win for America.
That's exactly where we're at right now.
For America, bro.
That's what happened last night,
and
right
this has
there.
3,000 likes.
It certainly was a win for a certain section of America.
100%.
Yep, definitely.
Sick, man.
Oh, it's nasty work, bro. It's honestly what it was. This was a complete character assassination on Shedeur Sanders. It was executed, and we'll get into day 2 here in a bit. This isn't over, I don't think. Honestly, I think he's sliding today. Because if someone liked him at this point, they would have already taken him. You would have taken the 5th-year option. You would have traded up with the Kansas City Chiefs, who already traded back from 31 to 32, who were already knowing that, okay, we're fine where we're at. We know who we want. We're just going to keep moving back. If someone really wanted to go up and get Shedeur at 32, you absolutely could have done it.
Yeah. We'll see. I do fear that the same concerns that I just brought up don't change in the second round.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And so we'll see what happens. But I want to make this point before this segment ends, even though I'm sure we'll continue talking about this. I don't care. I don't care where he goes. That man is going to ball out. And we're going to look back on this day in 5 years, and we're going to be asking, why did he slip to the second round? Why did he slip to wherever? And there will be no good answers that have anything to do with the real Shedeur Sanders. It will have everything to do with the boogeyman Shedeur Sanders that was invented by outside forces.
I just want to add on to your list that you were just naming off of guys. Trey Lance was taken in the first round, G. Somebody traded up to take him in the first
that
10.
season.
And he was at NDSU.
And didn't
no
play.
shade to them.
Is that for real?
Yes, they had a canceled season because of COVID.
Mitch Trubisky went in the first round. G. Kenny Pickett went in the first round. The Steelers, who just passed on Shedeur Sanders just a couple years ago, took Kenny Pickett in the first round of the draft. You feel me? And I saw this tweet from Guru. If you know Guru on Twitter, you know. But I think he had a tweet last night that was 100% on point. He goes, I see exactly why LeBron James did what he did for Bronny.
For sure.
And that is on point because LeBron James saw what was coming. And obviously, I'm not going to compare Bronny to Shedeur apples to apples. But I think it applies because LeBron was like, I'm not even going to give these NBA teams a chance to mess with my son and mess up his confidence because they're not going to pick him. You know, you can argue whether he was worth a late second round pick or not. But again, LeBron just took that in his own hands, and we see a Bronny developing in the NBA. And I wish if Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, had that power, he might have exercised it, or wish he could have exercised it. But I just see you can understand why LeBron did that for his son because these people are crazy, man.
I can't believe 3 teams literally looked at their quarterback room and said, yeah, give me Russell Wilson, give me Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco over Shedeur Sanders. Last night was not about winning, and that is wrong in the NFL draft. That's 100% wrong.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens because there's going to be hell to pay for all of the NFL, except for the team that eventually decides to take Shedeur. And I think it's going to take someone in power, whether that's an owner or a GM, kind of putting their foot down and saying, like,
Yep.
I don't care about all this. I want the talent. We need a quarterback. I'll take my chances. And they're going to be rewarded handsomely.
100%. I already got a new team that I want Shedeur to go to. I ain't gonna lie.
Do you want to tell us on the other side of this break?
I would love to, my boy. Shout out to the squad over at Game Time, man. The MLB season is in full swing, man. The summer is rapidly approaching, which means it's truly baseball season, man. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. priority. You get last minute deals. You get to save up to 60% off buying last minutes for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. And then with Game Time picks, you can make a last minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in this stadium. And then with Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So like I said, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
And shout out to the homies over at FanStake, where you, the fans, can directly get involved with the success of Colorado football. And right now, you can sign up for a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached, to stake a player over at FanStake. Unfortunately, with all this news talking about today, Javian Thomas is no longer in the conversation for Colorado. They're going to have to look elsewhere at running back. So make sure you get on FanStake right now, sign up, and be ready to stake one of these players who they will inevitably bring in over the next coming days and weeks. FanStake is currently offering fans a new $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. We're encouraging everyone to join us in staking. Who do we have to stake right now?
Omarion Miller.
Omarion Miller.
Oh,
That's our guy. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com. Use promo code DNVR to help keep Omarion Miller with the Buffs. So day 2 of the NFL Draft is today. Sorry, Scotty.
you want to hear my team that I want Shedeur to go to now? I mean, I'm not going to... If he ends up going to the Browns, I'm not going to act like I didn't say all the things I said about that being a great fit, you know? So that would still be cool. And obviously they have, 2 of the first 5 or 6 picks here tonight in the second round?
Yeah.
So obviously Cleveland is still a potential landing spot for Shedeur. But if he continues to slide past both the Browns picks tonight, past the Raiders potentially, who pick right after the Browns' second pick, past the Saints again, who have the 40th overall pick, the 45th overall pick, the 13th pick tonight, belongs to the Indianapolis Colts. And I think Shedeur in Indianapolis could be very, 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 very intriguing. First off, they play in a dome, which is dope. Obviously, for somebody who throws the football as accurately as Shedeur does. They have an offensive-minded head coach, an elite offensive-minded head coach, in Shane Steichen, who helped Philadelphia reach the Super Bowl just a couple years ago. You know, obviously with Jalen Hurts, he got a head coaching job in Indianapolis because of the job that he did in Philly, working with Jalen Hurts in that offense. What they do yesterday, what did the Colts do yesterday? They drafted arguably the best tight end in the draft, and Tyler Warren, kind of a Swiss Army knife who can play a lot of different roles, do a lot of things with his versatility. And Thomas Dimitrov, who told us at the Super Bowl that the best thing you could potentially do for a young quarterback is get him a really good tight end. Tyler Warren would check that box. They have an elite running back in Jonathan Taylor. You would have an elite running game for Jonathan Taylor. I like the receiving core a lot with Michael Pittman. Josh Downs is, I think, really slept on. I think Alec Pierce is really as well. Another winnable division. Obviously, we were talking about the AFC South. And he'd be back in the division with Travis, which obviously would be dope as well, seeing him twice a year. I think the Colts should think about it. And obviously, their quarterback room consists of currently Anthony Richardson,
it's a joke, bro,
and Daniel Jones. Shedeur would immediately win that quarterback battle. So that's a team that popped into my mind as I'm again looking down the board. If the Browns, the Saints continue to pass on him, I think the Colts could be interesting. And why wouldn't you? Nobody cares about the Indianapolis Colts right now. You add Shedeur, everybody does.
Do they have the balls to draft a guy who's going to come in and make their former top 5 pick look really bad?
They brought in Daniel Jones to do that already, though.
To compete with them, too. And they said that was a competition. So it's like, I feel like you've seen enough of Anthony Richardson.
If that's the case, then it's on the table for me. But I've got my prediction, and I've got where I want him to go. And I mentioned that someone in power is going to have to come in and put their foot down.
John Lynch?
Who better than Jerry Jones himself? And you laugh, but I'm dead serious. And I think
they pick right before the Colts do too.
44.
Tonight. Yeah.
And I think back to the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know, 5-ish years ago.
Right.
They had Carson Wentz coming back from injury, almost MVP season, all of that stuff. In the second round, they drafted a guy by the name of Jalen Hurts, and everyone said, "What the hell are they doing?"
Yep.
Within 2 years, Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback. Carson Wentz was way out of there. Never been the same again. And obviously, Dak Prescott's a lot better than Carson Wentz. I can't say ever was, but certainly on a consistent basis.
Yes.
But I think that this might be a place where Jerry says, "Forget this. I'm stepping in and I'm getting him, and we're gonna at the very least light a big fire under Dak Prescott to play his best this year. And if not, by the time that contract dies off a little bit, we're gonna be able to get off of it. We're gonna have our guy."
And you talk about someone who, wouldn't let the Coach Prime rumors bother him. It's Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. And last night he couldn't really do it, right?
For sure.
He would have,
and maybe he wanted to based on how long they went into the clock with their pick.
Yeah.
Yes. Tonight, you can really get away with it. Teams do it all the time. The Denver Broncos, I'm still mad about this. The Denver Broncos got Peyton Manning onto their team, and that same year drafted Brock Osweiler in the second round.
Yep.
To this day, don't know what the hell they were thinking. It happens a lot. This one famous, the Seattle Seahawks signed Matt Flynn to a massive contract, biggest contract ever for a player that had played so little. Immediately drafted Russell Wilson in the second round. This stuff happens, and so it's not completely unprecedented. All the teams are kind of back in play here, even if they have a quarterback that they kind of like. There's certain teams that's like the Bills are obviously not going to do it.
Right.
Everyone else, where you're kind of in a mid-tier quarterback that hasn't quite gotten over the hump, is back in play here. I got a feeling on Dallas.
So the Niners picked the pick before the Cowboys do tonight. You more confident in the Cowboys doing that than the Niners tonight? Because I know you like the idea of the Niners pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, I'm looking more at teams that I shouldn't say couldn't, but maybe had a reason to not do it last night.
Sure. No, I hear you.
I look at the team picking 48th overall, the Miami Dolphins. We talked a lot about this fit throughout the season, actually. And, you have Mike McDaniel, who is one of the brightest offensive minds in the game right now. And kind of to what you said, I mean, it's one snap, right? It took one snap for Tony Romo's back to go in that preseason to give Dak his chance.
Yep.
That's all Shedeur needs. So it's just about best organizational and coaching fit at this point for me. So give me someone like Miami. Give me someone like LA. Give me the Rams. Give me San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, please give Shedeur all these resources just to prove a point in the coming years after.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams right there, 46-2 tonight.
Yep.
I mean, and I think like they traded up for that pick as well in a deal that I think they made yesterday. So that's an additional pick that they had, or at least they're higher up in the second round than they were originally. So that's an interesting spot.
Someone in the comments said, let's go back over the list of teams.
Yes, please.
That needed a quarterback and pass on Shedeur. First and foremost, I'm just going off a list here that starts by division. The New York Jets. You're on the list, and you've been there.
Your Giants.
The Cleveland Browns. You're on the list. Are the Indianapolis Colts on the list?
Yeah, I'm not going to excuse them for bringing in Daniel Jones.
Okay. The Indianapolis Colts, you are on the list. The Tennessee Titans are on the list. No one. The Raiders?
No.
Okay. I'm going to let the Raiders
We'll actually
slide.
give them a pass, yes.
The Giants are on the list.
The New York Giants, you are on the list.
You're on the list twice.
Literally.
No one in the NFC North. The New Orleans Saints, you are on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers are definitely on the list.
Yep.
And the Steelers are on the list. Where did I miss the Steelers? Oh, there they were.
I mean, honestly, every NFL team's on the list.
But the teams that truly need a quarterback, needed a quarterback at least going into last night, they're on a special list.
And I just have to say about Cleveland, because I don't think we've said it yet today.
Bro, don't get me started on these dudes.
All they had to do was just stay put at number 2 overall, draft Travis Hunter, and we could be sitting here today just waiting for them to draft Shedeur Sanders tonight to pair them back up in Cleveland in the NFL.
Could have saved Save the franchise.
Could have saved the franchise. And they didn't even have to trade up, trade back, nothing. They could have just stayed put and got both of them.
Yep.
And they ended up with Mason Graham and probably Jalen Milroe at this point. I ain't gonna lie. So
The
it's
Cleveland
crazy,
Browns
dog.
have executed a generational fumble, and now they pick twice in the first 4 picks of
Yeah.
today. And I will not be surprised if they pass on Shedeur 2 more times. They will have passed on Shedeur and Travis a total of 5 times. That is crazy, bro.
And they like Jalen Milroe. That's the reporting.
Yeah, no, that's what I think is going to happen.
They like Jalen Milroe. And again, remember, Jalen Milroe was at the draft last night. He got an invite to be at the draft. So the league thinks that he was a potential first rounder. So I can see Milroe being their guy, which would just be disgusting work.
Got nothing against Jalen Milroe.
Me neither.
Would
I don't got anybody against Jackson Dart.
be rooting for him. He'll just be on that jersey crossed off in a couple years.
And I don't want to talk down on those guys, put dirt on their name.
Me either.
But honestly, straight up, you switch Shedeur with Jackson Dart on Ole Miss. You switch Shedeur with Jalen Milroe on Alabama. Those teams are a shoe into the playoff, and chances are they're at least playing in the semifinals because they have the best quarterback in the country on those teams. Put those guys on Colorado. I mean, what 6-7
Bowl
wins?
eligibility, they're fighting for it.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's genuinely crazy. I can't believe what happened last night.
I could go back through it, but there were at least 4 games where I came out of it saying the Colorado Buffaloes would not have won this game with any other quarterback in the country.
And not just maybe not win it. They probably get blown out with any other quarterback in the country.
Yes.
100%.
Someone's going to learn, and it's going to be a great day for them.
It's nuts, dog.
Insane. So, yeah, the Browns pick at 33. They also pick at 36. The Raiders pick after that. The Saints pick at 40. The Jets, we haven't mentioned the Jets, at 42.
What are they doing? They have Justin Fields. What are they doing?
Baby.
No idea. And then the group of teams we just talked about, San Francisco, Dallas, Indianapolis, L.A., and then Miami, 2 picks after that. I mean,
And the Steelers are really the goofies. They don't even have a second-round pick.
bro, Mason Rudolph?
They don't even have a second-round pick, bro.
What are we
unless
doing?
You're going to take one of these quarterbacks late, 3rd round later, that's what you're going in with in 2025, that quarterback room.
It's malpractice, bro. Honestly, it really is. You could have a 5-year-old playing Madden manage a quarterback room better than that.
Yeah, a 5-year-old would be like, no, I can't play this game with Mason
Yes.
Rudolph as my quarterback.
Yes.
But Mike T, man, what you doing? It's crazy.
Just looking at some of the guys who have been NFL draft busts at quarterback over the last few years. Justin Fields.
You didn't have to name him first,
Sorry.
bro.
Sorry,
That's
he was-
crazy.
he's-
And I reject
hold on,
that. I reject that, dude. He's not a bust. But go ahead.
Justin Fields.
He just got $30 million guaranteed this offseason.
He didn't get re-signed by the team that drafted him. That's my thing. That makes you a bust in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
Will Levis. Zach Wilson. Anthony Richardson. What do all of these guys have in common?
Tools.
Traits.
What do they not have?
Processing. Football intelligence.
To me, the number one thing that they are all lacking is accuracy.
Yep.
I like Justin Fields. Struggles with accuracy. Anthony Richardson makes some incredible, exciting plays. Really struggles with accuracy.
Very inaccurate.
Zach Wilson wowed everyone at his pro day with his arm. Really struggled with accuracy. Will Levis can throw the ball 80 yards in the air. Really struggles with accuracy. Shedeur's best trait, accuracy. Then do it the other way. Look at the guys who have hit. Bo Nix, accuracy. Jaden Daniels, accuracy. You go on down this list, and it's kind of obvious. There's a rare outlier like a Josh Allen who struggled with his accuracy, and then he kind of figured it out. It doesn't happen often. And the other way, when guys do hit, Joe Burrow, accuracy. It's almost always that. Because in the end, the position is about putting the ball into a place.
Great point. And I just think about when you're talking about Joe Burrow, I think of Jared Goff, who I have comped Shedeur Sanders to. How has Jared Goff lasted in the league as long as he had? You know,
Darts.
throwing darts, being accurate, being a statue in the pocket a lot of times, but
Yeah.
just throwing the ball exactly where it needs to be time and time again. That's what Shedeur is, and teams just conveniently forget that part about him.
There's no way you can call me insane for calling Justin Fields a bust.
Accuracy is the
insane,
most.
You're insane.
That it's not even okay.
Accuracy is the most like unteachable trait for a quarterback. Like the Josh Allen thing, like
Yes.
that's a borderline miracle,
Yes.
honestly, that he went from his rookie year completion percentage to where he is now.
I was convinced he was going to be ass. I'm not gonna
For
lie.
sure.
A lot of people were,
were,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But I mean, Shedeur has it, man. I mean, you just put on the tape. You can critique other things, and it's valid and fair. Like, yes, he does hold on to the ball too long. Yes, he does take sacks. Yes, he does drift in the pocket at times. But the man puts the ball on a string exactly where he wants it to. And the fact that NFL teams decided not to value that in the first round, I'm telling you, man, it's gross to me.
I think of Dan Orlovsky talking about Shedeur doesn't have the uncoachable traits. How is accuracy? How does that not fit in that?
That's what
category?
I'm saying, bro. It's
How
crazy.
does that not fit?
Like, we're rewriting the book for Shedeur Sanders in the wrong way.
Yep.
It's terrible.
But as soon as he gets in someone's practice and he starts completing passes over and over and over again, coach is gonna say, "Yeah, that's my guy."
Yep.
No doubt.
All right, we have one more break to take.
I cannot believe that it's even debatable.
Look,
that
I was
Justin
going to say
Fields.
this is kind of a debate.
How is it debatable? Jake, please. Justin Fields bust or not?
He's a bust. I love Justin Fields coming out. I
Me
wanted
too.
him on the Broncos
Me too.
over Pat Surtain
Me
that
too.
night.
Me too.
I was heartbroken they did not take him. He has not worked out in the NFL.
He's on his third team in 3 years. Quarterbacks that aren't busts literally never play on 3 teams in 3 years.
Baker Mayfield is like the exception to the rule there too.
So
like
there are
it's
exceptions?
of course there are. It's the NFL.
Does it never happen or are there exceptions?
Well, hold on,
Like,
hold on. You can. This is gonna sound weird. You can unbust yourself, for lack of a better term. You can dig yourself out of it. But to me, anytime that
Okay.
you did not succeed with the team that drafted you, you were a bust. Especially at quarterback, it's more cut and dry because if you did succeed, they would have kept you.
Yeah, you got to look at it from the team that drafted them. They drafted Justin Fields to be their franchise quarterback. He did not end up being their franchise quarterback.
That's a
That's
bust.
a bust.
But you just have to look at the specific scenario. The reason that
Of course.
he didn't remain in Chicago is because they ended up with the number 1 overall pick because of a trade that they got.
Now,
Because
how did they get the number 1 overall
Because
pick with
Carolina
him
had
at
the number 1
quarterback?
overall pick and they traded for it.
What about the year before?
So don't even do that.
What about the year before?
What year before? What are you asking?
They had the number 1 pick that they traded. The way they had the number 1 overall pick the year
No,
that they,
was from the Bryce Young trade.
Yeah, they got the number 1 overall pick to draft Caleb Williams because of the trade with the Panthers. That wasn't their own pick.
I'm saying, what pick did they trade to the Panthers?
No, that was part of like the DJ Moore trade.
They traded the number 1 overall pick to the Panthers to select Bryce Young, which resulted in them getting the number 1 overall pick from the Panthers the next year.
I'm getting lost in translation right
I
now.
think-
Are you following this?
I am, and I think RK might be right.
Okay, 2024, right? That's when they draft Caleb Williams.
Yes.
2023, they had the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Because of the Panthers.
No, bro.
That was the Panthers pick. Yes.
2024. They had the Panthers pick. They used that to select Caleb Williams.
So who did the Bears draft number 1 overall in 2023?
They didn't.
They
They,
didn't. They
traded it
to
to
the
the Carolina
Panthers.
Panthers for their next year's number 1 and whatever pick the Panthers had that year.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about. You have to look at this situation. If the Bears didn't make a trade to get the number 1 overall pick from the Panthers where they knew they wanted to take Caleb Williams, Justin Fields would remain a Bear. And a lot of the fan base wanted Justin Fields to remain a Bear, me included. But
Yeah.
if you get a chance to draft a quarterback like Caleb Williams, number 1 overall, you got to do it. And the last time we saw Justin Fields playing football, he looked really good.
Yeah.
The Steelers were 3-1, and they made a very bad decision, I think, personally.
I mean,
think
it's
y'all
clear
would
the
agree.
Steelers can't evaluate quarterbacks at this point.
Period. So, I mean, I don't know.
I will say
this is a bit personal for me, obviously, because I rock
Yeah.
with Justin. That's my guy. But it is what it is.
If Justin Fields, takes the Jets to the playoffs this year, I will rescind my take. And I'll say that he was...
Does he have to lead him to the playoffs? Or like, what if he just looks good? And they're
Okay.
like a 8-9, 91, 98 team.
Sure. If Justin Fields looked really good this year, Oliver Sin might take and say that it was a situational wrong place, wrong time bust. Not a
There's
skill
different
issue.
degrees of busting out in the NFL.
That's why I just draw the line at, did you stay with your
Sure,
team?
exactly.
It makes it easy for me.
Like Jamarcus Russell is not like Justin Fields.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
Totally.
yeah.
Ryan Leaf is,
Exactly.
like there's Zach Wilson.
Exactly.
There's definitely worse cases, but like you said, you're drafted to be a franchise quarterback. You don't end up being that. It's a bust. And I would include Baker Mayfield.
I think the Browns would probably, I mean, in terms of them, he was supposed to be the savior.
Yep.
Is the franchise saved?
No. And Baker did have like injury stuff and whatever, but
then it's the Browns' own fault for mismanaging that whole thing and moving too quickly,
Yep.
being too reactionary.
oh, and I think actually the year that the Bears did get the number 1 pick, didn't Justin Fields, wasn't he hurt that year?
I mean, no, not really.
Okay.
He played like
Oh,
he
I'm
played
thinking
most
of-
of the season.
Yeah, okay.
He played most of the season.
Okay, we got to take this last break. Shout out to the homies over at Big Brothers Big Sisters. We've entered into a long-term partnership with them, and we are super excited for the future, working alongside them. It's not just all about sports here at DNVR. It's about community. I'm sure y'all have felt that in the comments. Together, we're combining with Big Brothers Big Sisters' incredible youth movement programs with the passion and power of All City's local sports coverage to create something truly meaningful. What?
Nothing. I'm
Oh,
just looking at the comments.
But yeah, you're going to see a lot of stuff from us involving Big Brothers and Big Sisters and vice versa over the next, I mean, immediately pretty much. Weren't they there at the draft show for you guys last night too?
Yes.
Hanging out? So
Yes.
we're going to do a lot of work with them. If you want to get more information, you can learn more at bbbs.org/allcity. We're excited to support youth mentorship that really makes a difference. Again, if you want to learn more, bbbs.org/allcity.
Anything else?
So
Geno Smith, for example, which the comments are talking about, is an example of a guy who
Unbusted.
got out of the hole.
yes, for sure.
There are cases of this. Sam Darnold potentially could be in that as well. Ryan Tannehill potentially in that as well. Probably in that. Like the only thing I will say is it's very, very rare, and I can't think of an example where that led to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff would be
Yeah.
he got to a Super Bowl but didn't win. But that was with his team, so I guess that he still hasn't gotten back. That was with the team that drafted him.
For sure. He got damn close. What was it, last year, 2 years ago? 2 years ago, right? NFC title game? They lost first round last year.
I don't think
The
they
Lions.
have made an NFC title, have they?
Who y'all talking about right now?
The Lions.
Yeah, they won. They made the. They played the.
They
Niners
lost to the Niners.
Oh,
yeah.
in the
okay,
NFC
okay.
title game a
Yeah.
couple years ago.
Let's go to the chat. Can you make it a little bit easier for me to see, please, Alyssa? Don Peasy says, I love Trav and unlimited blessings to him. I'm very hot about the Shedeur drop. Been since JSU freshman year, and in no world is Dart better than him. Zero way. 100%, bro. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
No way, no way. It's a fire Young Thug song. No way. Go check it out.
East Coast Kev, Shedeur has his issues, but this was also a humiliation ritual. Let's punish the father by humbling the son. This was mainly to humiliate Coach Prime. No conspiracies, just an observation. You're spot on, Kev.
Very much agree.
Kev, again, a lot of teams don't need a quarterback, but look at it this way. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Kurt Warner was working in a grocery store, but guess where they are now? Hall of Fame. Kind of to go off that, too. And, it's been a spicy show. But last year plays a factor into this. 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12 picks. There just aren't as many quarterback needy teams this year than in previous years, and it's because of the crazy class that was last year, where an unprecedented number of guys went in the first, I think 11, 12 picks, whatever it was. So I do recognize that, but I think that you can recognize that and also be angry about what's happened to Shedeur at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive.
I saw a tweet last night. It was like, gee, I literally watched JJ McCarthy go 10th or 11th overall, and I was rolling. But it's like, damn, bro. It's just crazy.
Very
I'm not really
crazy.
sure guy, and he'll be all right. But it's a funny tweet nonetheless.
I was
Tally-
tempted to put the Vikings on the list.
Y'all are crazy. Tally heat for everybody that didn't like the Kendrick
I'm
Lamar.
going for everyone's quarterbacks today.
Good.
Let's talk about Bryce Underwood too.
Please. For everyone that didn't like the Kendrick Lamar halftime show, last night was exactly what he said. They want you to play the game within the game.
Low key.
Those are facts.
Low key, man.
What's up, Wayne? FDP is the MVP. Okay, in my fantasy land of a brain, Jacksonville sends Trevor Lawrence to Cleveland for the 33rd pick and takes Shedeur as well. Hashtag meatloafer. Hashtag Husker stash. Hashtag Jake3Meats. What does that mean?
Jake3Meats is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That is very crazy.
Thanks, you meatloafer.
I'd be shocked if Jacksonville did that. Kev again. By the way, the Giants don't draft black quarterbacks. I told you all that months ago. Shedeur used this as fuel and go out there and punish the other 31 teams. Make everyone pay. I mean, it's a pattern now. They have to live with that.
Like Nebraska head coaches.
Yep.
I mean, is that like an actual thing? Like the Giants have been around for forever, right? Pretty much like as long as the NFL's been around.
Yeah, the Giants. I mean, they had Tyrod Taylor, but they didn't draft him.
Like if that's an actual fact that they've never drafted a black quarterback, like, come on.
It's crazy.
JT says, can Jags take Shedeur tonight at 2-12 reunion? I sincerely doubt that the Jags will draft Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I don't even think they have a second round pick. Yeah, they don't have a second round pick. They might maybe have one in the third.
Oh, because they just gave theirs up to go get Travis.
Right. They do have an early third round pick though. 2 third round picks. Yeah.
Tally Heat again.
Bringing in Travis Hunter and then bringing in Shedeur Sanders without making some sort of move with Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Probably not going to work.
Yeah. For sure.
I typed in the chat GPT, have the New York Giants ever drafted a black quarterback? And it says, yes. The New York Giants have drafted a black quarterback. In the 2025 NFL draft, they selected Jackson Dart from Ole Miss.
I mean, people really be using ChatGPT for real. That's the
It's crazy, bro. Tally Heat says, I think most coaches want a quarterback to run what they do instead of collaborating. They're scared to hire the entrepreneur. They just want a worker.
That's another good one.
It's a lot of kiss the ring type of stuff we saw last night.
Get in line.
East Coast Kev, my New York Jets have a better chance of going to the playoffs with Justin Bieber than Justin Fields. Wow.
Wait,
Wow.
I'm sorry. I was reading another one. Let me see that again. What was that?
He said that his Jets have a better chance of going to the playoffs with Justin Bieber than Justin Fields.
Bro, now you just say anything, gang. Come on, man. Be for real. You must not have seen Justin Bieber recently. My boy going through it right now, so you might want to really take that
All right.
back.
I used Twitter's AI model.
Oh, my gosh.
And it says, while the Giants have had African-American quarterbacks on their roster, such as Geno Smith, who was the first to start a game for the team in 2017, and Tyrod Taylor, who became the first to win a game for the Giants in 2023, none were selected by the Giants in the NFL draft.
Bro, did that just say the first black Giants quarterback was in 2017?
Yes.
That's crazy. Overtime?
Bruh.
And apparently Geno Smith never won a game as
Alyssa?
their starter.
Wow.
We are headed to overtime. If you were watching on your television, head on over to thednvr.com. We got a few more super chats to get to. We're going to wrap up the show there.
What the heck?
What?
The last sentence of this is the Giants have also signed quarterbacks like Anthony Wright and Andre Woodson, with Woodson being drafted by the Giants in 2008, but there is no definitive evidence confirming Woodson is African American.
This question's so crazy it threw all the AI models into
Jesus
a blender,
Christ.
bro. What's up, Heavens Demon? If Shedeur had the Ohio State Georgia O-line and did better, are we still having this conversation? Not a chance. Not a chance. Wilson the Ghost. My Browns fan friend said he wants Howard over Sanders. That's insane.
And
that franchise deserves its poverty. 100% they do.
I hope they get Howard, too.
Yeah.
That's what they want. I hope they get
The
it.
dude's also obviously an Ohio State fan living in Ohio.
Oh, well, yeah, true.
Oh, my gosh.
Big Beats Franklin says, yo, SDP, they got my dogs effed up, but man, I cried at the pic of him in the empty Fresh Prince living room. Wrist still in the air, we aight.
Facts. We definitely good.
Don Peasy, to be fair, the Lovie Smith gave the Bears the #1 pick to trade to Carolina after learning he would be fired from Texans.
That is true.
At end of seasons. You're right.
That is
that
factually
was
true.
He threw that game.
He did.
Completely.
What was the situation again?
It was Texans Colts week 18. And Lovie Smith was the head coach of the Texans at the time.
Yeah.
Knew he was getting fired. And obviously the Texans were asked. So were the Colts. But the Texans just miraculously won that game late in the year, which gave them an extra win, which gave, I believe, the Panthers the #1 overall pick, which obviously belonged to the Bears. And yeah, Chicago Bear legend, Lovie Smith. The last great head coach we had prior to Ben Johnson.
And he left you with a parting gift on his in his Texans regime too.
Gee, we fired him after a 10-6 season, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we ain't been right since.
That's it. That's it. I don't know what to expect tonight. I really don't. Everyone's talking like Shedeur's going to drop even more. I got an ESPN notification today that was like, why Shedeur Sanders is not the best prospect on day 2. We have reached complete insano land.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, bro. It's crazy.
We'll see what happens. I'm all the way past it now to the mode of just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch. Watch what happens once this guy gets a chance.
Wait on it.
We'll be live here at 5. It'll be slightly different than yesterday. We'll be kind of collabing with the Broncos guys, so we'll all be hanging out here. But if Shedeur does get drafted, we will sneak away, go live for an emergency podcast. And then, yeah, tomorrow, same thing. Live watch along starting around, what time does draft start tomorrow? 10? 11?
I think it is 10 a.m.
10.
Yeah.
So starting around 10, we'll have the live watch along tomorrow, and then we'll have a recap pod for all the wide receivers. Hopefully we get Chidoze, BJ Green, maybe Shiloh, someone else gets drafted, Cam. So that's the plan for the next 36 hours or so. See how it goes.
See y'all later.
Let's go Buffs.
Don't be a bust.
We all silly like the mayor.